Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Indianapolis Raceway Park here in, I forget what the town is now because it's not the same town it used to be in. They moved the racetrack. But hey, we're here for the 10th race of the season tomorrow night. The Lucas Oil 200 here from IRP. Going to be a 50-lap race, so a really short one once again for these guys here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, and we're here to qualify for tomorrow night's 50-lap event. 10 minutes here in this session, and of course the fastest time wins the pole, so nice and straightforward. And this is one of the short tracks on the schedule, so going to be a little bit of parity in tomorrow night's race with who we've been seeing running up front, because short track was a separate rating, and it might affect who gets a good run here in the 10th race of the season. We're halfway through the Turkey Hill Truck Series season number 8. Sebastian Kukulon is still the points leader, 33-point lead ahead of our last winner, Laura Chung, who grabbed the race victory at Watkins Glen last time out. And then Ethan Lewis, 51 points behind, Eric Drew is 52 points behind, and Ryan Kinger is 53 points behind. So a lot of those guys have been running up front a majority of this season, up there in the championship. And still halfway to go in this Turkey Hill Truck Series season to determine a champion here for these drivers. Should be a fun race. It's the first time the Truck Series has actually ever come here to the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Of course, not the first time we've done a race here on this racetrack before, but definitely a fun little short track, and both lanes, have a bit of an advantage to each other, so definitely a very unique racetrack in terms of how it races. But definitely excited to see who will end up with the advantage here. And qualifying here is going to be very big. Of course, with it being a short track, where you start means quite a bit, as it is difficult to move your way from the back to the front on a track like this. First driver on the leaderboard currently is Roberto Crown Jr., and they won the pole for the Watkins Glen race. We're going to fall back to fourth now as Zach Winkle goes to the top of the board. Troxel had it for a moment, so did Allison Rain, but a lot of guys kind of moving their way up through the field. See if we can locate the number 99. Where is he? Somebody somewhere out here on this racetrack. There he is, and he doesn't have anyone in front of him, so that's probably a good reason why he's got a good time going on right now. Caleb Rose going to take the top position away. Number 25, who had a solid run at Watkins Glen last weekend. Obviously kind of struggled at the beginning of the season. He's 149 points behind, but right there, he's got the fastest time, 0.3 of a second ahead of Thomas Troxel, who won at Bristol. I'm trying to think. I think that was the last short track we had on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we've only had the one short track so far this season, and yeah, that has been the only one, is Bristol, so I'm not surprised to see Troxel do well. Joey Hightower there, Roberto Crown Jr., both of those drivers did an excellent job qualifying, at least, at Watkins Glen. So we'll have to see if either of those guys end up with a good run here. Allison Rain back up to second, but Caleb Rose still putting down some very fast times in that 25 machine. So some different faces up front, but then some familiar ones as well. Laura Chung there in the 61. She is 6th after winning last weekend. Nicholas Amadeo is there in 5th, and there is Laura Chung. First driver to win 3 races this season, and all at Atlanta and Texas World are basically the same racetrack, but Watkins Glen obviously a completely different racetrack from those other two, and she's done an excellent job this season. And still not quite the points leader. Sebastian Kukulon still with an average finishing position of 6.56 this season. I just realized the scrolling ticker isn't working. That's unfortunate. We'll fix that for the race, but no one watches qualifying, so I'm not redoing qualifying just for that. Caleb Rose still the fastest driver. Allison Rain second. Thomas Troxel, Nicholas Amadeo, Roberto Crown Jr., Joey Hightower, Josh Williamson, and Nathan Stapleton. Bit of a home track for him right here. Goes to the top of the board in the number 40. This is definitely a race you want to win the pole at, because you can have a good shot at avoiding all the trouble behind you and pulling away and possibly getting the race victory with it only being a 50-lap race tomorrow. And it's going to be a lot like Bristol, where it's 50 laps and about a 30-lap fuel run for these guys. The difference between here and Bristol is they can actually get in the pit lane without crashing, so that's a good thing. I don't know why we even bothered trying that at Bristol, but we can actually do it here, which is a great thing. Don't have to worry. Well, I mean, anything can happen, but hopefully we'll not run into an issue where stuff happens in a green flag cycle with pit stops and half the field gets caught a lap down. We have not had many normal races this season here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, and it's kind of unfortunate, but you know what? It's just a little placeholder series until we get to the good stuff next year. Stapleton is your fastest driver. Caleb Rose, Allison Rain, Joey Hightower, Brad Stover, Thomas Troxel, Nicholas Sambadio, Roberto Crown Jr., Josh Williamson, and the 0-2 of Will Parrish, the top 10. Kukulon, our points leader, is 15th. Laura Chung is 13th. Both on the inside. Actually, Kukulon is tied with Jonathan Logan right there, so that means Kukulon would actually start in the outside lane in 14th currently. And then you go to the back of the field. Ryan Kingard is the slowest driver here in this qualifying session. One of the guys who's been pretty dominant this season. Not quite running too well here in qualifying, so definitely interesting to see if that's where he ends up starting, because that could definitely shake up the points. You got guys like Allison Rain starting up front there. Brad Stover is up inside that top 5, and then Nathan Stapleton. They're 6th through 8th in points. They could actually close in on the 5 guys ahead of them in the championship if they can stay up there and pull ahead. We'll just have to see if that ends up happening. You know, we're only halfway through the season here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, so a lot can happen between now and the finish of the season. And we also got a few short tracks as well, including this one. We also have Iowa, we have Gateway, and Martinsville, all legal short tracks, and you know they're all coming up pretty soon. Then you got Pocono, Chicagoland, Las Vegas. Talladega is going to be a big wild card at Homestead. So we really only have 4 tracks that are that intermediate style that a lot of these guys we've been seeing kind of dominate the season have been running well on. So the whole championship could turn around a little bit. A lot more of these wild card tracks coming up in the future. So going to be interesting to see how that does affect the championship battle here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Some of the guys have been doing well on those intermediate tracks. We're really down to 4 more intermediate tracks on the schedule, so these guys are definitely going to have to work for it on the short tracks if they're going to win this championship, because we got 4 of them coming up here in the next 6 races. And yes, Gateway is legally a short track, so surprise. Laura Chung, though, she just moved up to 2nd there in number 61. And she's been good on pretty much every track we've been to this season. She has been running up front, has found a lot of speed in that 61 machine. Not quite good enough for the pole, but definitely a great time. And starting up front, trying to close in on Sebastian Kukulon in this championship battle. She's definitely going to go for it. And you got 4 guys under 22 seconds here in this qualifying session, so... And she's one of them in that 61 machine. She's going to have a good opportunity at the race victory starting in that outside pole. Caleb Rose still 3rd there. Allison Rain is still 4th. And you got Joey Hightower, Brad Stover, Thomas Troxel, Nicholas Sambadio, Roberto Crown Jr., and Josh Williamson. Got a tie there between Eric Drew and Memphis Fisher, but Eric Drew holds that. Kukulon and Logan are still tied, but Kukulon breaks that on Jonathan Logan. And then going through the back of the field here, I think that's it for tiebreakers at the moment. Probably about 2 minutes left for these guys to be out on the racetrack, and then the qualifying session will be done. See if the ticker fixed itself, and it did not. So I don't understand why that didn't work there. We'll, like I said, fix that for the race. Make sure that's working all right. It's a little bonus for you guys, so you know what's going on behind the field, so I don't have to like scroll down on the leaderboard during the race and show you guys everything for that. Nathan Stapleton leading the field, the fastest time here in qualifying. It would be his first pole of the season if he can pull it off in his home state, which is definitely something I know he would be proud of. And the way it's looking like right now, I think he is going to hold on and start on the front row and on the pole position for tomorrow's Lucas Oil 200. There's Nicholas Sambadio, 8th in the leaderboard. He's 28th in points. It's not been a good season for Nicholas Sambadio, the longest running driver in this series. Laura Chung there, starting in second. She is second in points. A good opportunity to really close in on Kukulon heading into Pocono, which will be the next race. That's going to be a wild card race, too, because of how short it's going to be. It's going to be so short we're not even going to have pit stops in that race. We're not even going to try for that one. I know we probably shouldn't have done it for this one or for Bristol, but Pocono is just going to be too short to really justify a cycle of pit stops. So that'll be a little interesting thing about that race. I think that will do it. So we get the clock to run out right here. That should be about it here for qualifying from Indianapolis Raceway Park. And that will, in fact, do it. Nathan Stapleton wins the pole for the Lucas Oil 200. Laura Chung will start alongside him. Caleb Rose and Allison Rain in run number 2. Take a look at the rest of the results right there, and the only two ties are the two right on each other there, Jonathan Logan and Sebastian Kukulon. Kukulon will break the tiebreaker there, and then Eric Drew and Memphis Fisher tie, but they will stay in their respective positions. Other than that, we do have one more between Reggie Fogelman and Casey Nanico, and Fogelman has that, so they will stay in their respective positions as well. That is how they will line up outside of Logan and Kukulon switching positions for tomorrow's Lucas Oil 200. Nathan Stapleton wins the pole. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for 50 laps of action tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on AG, the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.